It's 4 total and a little bit. They're 410s, yes. Everybody, welcome back to Ogre Speed Shop. This is a little afterthought intro here, but there's a truck show coming up April 17th and 18th. It's called the Truck Gathering in Guthrie, Oklahoma. And this video is the very first one of me prepping the 1969, now 1970 GMC 3500, K3500 for that show. So let's go ahead and get into it. Everybody, Ogre Speed Shop. So I have a goal that I decided to set for myself. There is a truck show coming up. It's called the Truck Gathering in Guthrie, Oklahoma. And it is April 17th and the 18th. And I want to take this truck. So I have a lot of work to do, but I got, 4 months to do it. So gotta get the cab ready to go on here, get fenders, everything ready to go on. I mean, I can use the Chevy one even though it's different, the way it's designed. You see, it's got that step out like that, but this one doesn't. So I have to figure out either put some metal on that and form it or get a different fender. But the big thing is getting it running and driving again. So we had it running and driving. It ran and drove just fine like this, but with the 410 gears up front, I needed a different rear end. So I'm hoping I found a 14 bolt that has 411s on it. So, but it's got to be a dually rear end, and I don't know if it is or not. So that's one of the things we got to do, but we got to get this thing running and back on the road. The registration will be done this week for it. So I officially own these trucks now. And we can make it work. So that's my goal, is to make it to the truck gathering in Guthrie, Oklahoma. So we can do that, then I'll be pretty happy. And if we can't, well, this is going to be registered as a 1970 GMC 2500. So if I can't make it with that one, I'm going to go in this one. So either way, I'm making it to that show. So let's go ahead and start getting into what we need to do for this. So what are some of the main things we need to get this thing complete? Well, the first thing is we need a spring that fits. So we need the 22 on center springs for a 67 to 72 Chevy GMC truck. So I'm going to talk to Rough Country. They have a 4-inch lift spring for this. That's the right size. So I'm going to see what I can do about getting one of those. The rear, I'm not sure what I have to do about that because I don't know. A lot of stuff that needs to be done, and I'm not sure where we're even starting at. But we definitely need new wheel bearings and U-joints for the front drive shaft. Obviously some steering components because that center link is bent, and I want to do a crossover style steering for it because that's a 2-hour drive for me. I want to make sure it's stable. I'm not going to do too much bump steer on me. And I'll do a steering stabilizer as well, but all that good stuff. But as of right now, the plan is just to get get it running. Well, we already know it runs and drives with the inline 6 in it. My Cummins swap is gonna have to wait because that's an expensive endeavor. Just trying to find an engine and transmission and transfer case and all that good stuff that'll work is gonna be, I gotta do some research on it because I don't even know what will work. But definitely a lot of work to do on this thing. Lighting. We don't have a single bit of lighting on this thing because it was all shattered or broken out or shot out while it sat in an oil field for 20 some years. So that's where we're at with this. A lot to do, but we ain't gonna get much done just sitting here yapping. So let's get into it. So I'm gonna do something I've never done before. I'm gonna make a list of what we're gonna need for this thing. And as you can see, I got the original C30, now K30, soon to be K3500, because we're putting a GMC body on there. So if you've been following me long enough, you know this. So let's go ahead and get a list going. Okay, some of the things that I can definitely get soon will be, so we need wheel bearings, U-joints for the front. Probably need them for the rear drive shafts and the drive shaft, front drive shaft too. So we'll do U-joints / all. Hopefully we can get a 14 bolt. I know that soon enough, but we gotta wait for payday. Today is the 28th of December. So we have till the April 17th basically. And there's one of these on Facebook Marketplace right now that has a 411 gear set, which matches the front of this. So that way we'll have matching gear sets. Front springs for sure. I don't know about a lift or if we're gonna get stock ones. I get stock ones from Rock Auto, but they're more expensive than buying the lift. So, you know, either Rock or Rough Country. They got a 4-inch lift kit that has the right springs, but it's only the front, so I gotta figure out what I do for the back for that. But I do have an extra spring pack that we could probably build a lift out of. I don't want to use blocks, especially on 1 ton. So, okay, so we got that. Lighting, we need all lighting. Wiring, I can probably cobble together enough to make it through that. I got a couple harnesses, stock harnesses for these trucks that could probably make something work. So the engine side is easy. It's all the lighting and stuff I gotta worry about. What else? I mean, other than the obvious. Oh, wheels and tires. So these are 16-inch, they can only take bias ply with tubes. I want to go to radials. So I need to find some wheels, 16, either 16, 17, 18, something like that. So I can run some better, you know, off-road tires. I'd love to get some of the AT2s that I have on the truck, on the 06 Silverado, to go on this. That'd be pretty cool having the dually set up with those. But I need different wheels because these wheels will not work without tubes. So, and they're standard 8 by 6.5. So it should be fine to find them. Just gotta make them work. Metal work. So we're gonna do that separately down here. This is to get it running, driving, operating. And down here we'll do aesthetics, or, you know, because the cab needs, well, let's just write it in there. So floor braces, rockers, some floor pans. What else? We've got one cab corner. We also need to look at I got fenders. I got everything else to make it work. I just need to either modify a fender, either I'll have to do that right away. Something I can do later, or when I get an actual GMC one that doesn't have that weird little notch in it. So that should be enough to get it on the road, because I think I have everything I need for that. The main things we gotta concentrate on is getting this thing drivable so it can be driven 2 hours. So 100 and some miles. So, well, you know, a couple 100 miles round trip. So those are the things we gotta concentrate on. Wheel bearings, U-joints. See about getting that 14 bolts. Springs, because I gotta get these centered properly. Wheels, tires, wire, and lighting. Okay, there's a lot we gotta add to it. Actually, I just thought of something already. We need brakes. I got a brand new set of drum brakes. But now, I have disc brakes, so I need some parts for that, especially the calipers. So one of the things I did do was get the pedal assembly all cleaned up. That thing is ready to go in. But we're far from that point yet. So I just wanted to show that because there might be a video on how I put that all together. So stand by and look for that one. But yeah, overall this cab ain't too bad. The floor's, you know, typical rust down there on the rockers area. A little bit over there in the corner, which is all pretty typical. But I think this is actually less than what that GMC had. But yeah, there's got a cab corner that's bad on this one. Which one was it? I don't remember. Maybe not that one. I don't know. Maybe they're not that bad. All right, let's just see exactly how bad it is underneath this truck. So here's the cab. Main areas I got to work on is this right here. So all the cab supports in every corner is rotted out, which isn't horrible because you can get the replacement pieces. And I was thinking, because AMD actually has a piece that goes from here all the way to there in one piece. So I'm debating on getting that, or they sell just the ends. And I think this middle is pretty stout still, so I'm not too worried about that. So I think if I just do each cab corner, mount, this one is just the way it is, so that's, you know, I get that one. I get this one, I'll just butt weld it in or whatever I gotta do to make that work. And so yeah, just replace these cab corners or cab supports. And then up here, well, you see, wow, it's got a seat belt mount in it too. But I don't know if I have to transfer that over. I have to look at the pieces. But then the inside of the cab floor. So I thought I needed a full cab corner, but so this got kind of dinged up a little bit. So I got to do some metal work on that to fix all that as well. Whether it's going to get done for the show or not, I don't know yet. But this here will actually be pretty easy to fix. Same with this side. I don't know what they were thinking when they took this thing off or whatever, but they just stuck it under whatever they could and dented it all up and worse than it was already. So, but yeah, that's what we got to do. So I think I was going to order this whole piece across here, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just order the ends. I think that'll work just as well. I got the 2 truck cabs loaded up to go to the tag agency. You do a VIN verification on it, and then I will officially own these trucks. So I'm pretty happy about that. So got her loaded up, just put air in the trailer tires and heading out. Right, so I just got back from the tag agency and got both trucks registered, and titles will be on their way. So now I think it's a good time to go ahead and put that on here for the first time. And not only that, it gets it on my way, but it also helps me do the work up underneath for the metal work that needs to be done underneath when I get the parts come in. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna stick that thing on there, get that seat off there, get the shifters off, put that thing right where it goes. It'll come off again, I'm sure, but you know. Well, there you have it. The GMC cab is now on the 1-ton. I like it. Not that it's really that much different from the white one. It's just green and it's a GMC by name. You don't really notice the difference until you actually get the fenders and the front grille on. But that ain't gonna be for a little bit. We're not gonna put that on yet because too much body work needs to be done on this. So I got parts ordered for the wheel, for the axle bearing, like axle bearings, seals, and U-joints for the front ordered. Still need to talk to a couple of companies about springs, steering, so I want to do crossover steering. But yeah, that's pretty cool. It's the first on the truck. The cab's been on the truck. Cab has been on the chassis since I got it. Pretty happy about that. So the cab mounted on the chassis now. It's a lot easier for me to get in here and take a look at what needs to be done. And look what I found, a whole new rat's nest. And I knew I had to replace the metal there. I'm not gonna buy, you can buy this panel, but all I gotta do is replace this bottom piece. And if you've seen my videos before, you saw that I made them on the other 1970 GMC. So it's just a real quick, you know, short patch panel that goes on there. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out so I can get the rest of this rat's nest out of there because it's pretty bad. Over there, it needs to be pulled apart too, but I'm looking at it. I think I'm just gonna, I already ordered, what did I order? Ordered something, I think rockers. Did I order rockers? I ordered the braces for underneath, the floor braces, so I got those on order. I think the rockers were the other thing I ordered too. But I'm also gonna order, there's a piece that goes from here, from all the way back here to all the way up to here, for this edge here. And I think I'm gonna get that over anything else, because you can get the sections and then the floor. But I think if I'm gonna get the floor pan again, I'm gonna do the same thing I did before, get that piece, and that, if I need to. Then this over here, I can just patch with regular flat steel. I don't know what I'm thinking. My mind ain't working right now. But anyways, there's a whole piece that goes from here all the way back. So I'm gonna get that eventually, but those are like 90 bucks. But it's that whole piece, which is nice. Rockers, braces, and that should be enough for the metal, for the floor at least, if I get these patch panels here. And there's a hole over there, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just make that piece. And there's a little rust spot in the brace that goes across there too, but I'm not gonna spend 200 bucks for that brace. I guess it's not 200, it's like 140 or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but there's a piece you can buy, that whole brace across there. I'm just gonna buy the piece that goes to here and across, and then weld it But yeah, I'm just kind of rambling now. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'll get more into it later. You just never know what you're going to find in these things. I came out of that little hole right there. Nice. You guess what I'm doing right now? Yep, there's a 14 bolt. I'm checking the gear ratio right now. We're back at Elk City Pick Apart. Because yesterday when I was here looking for mirrors, and these are the only ones I found, and those were way too big. Found this, which is a dually 14 bolt. Not sure the gear ratio yet. In fact, I gotta see if I can find that again, but I'll find it one way or another. So I'm pulling that out right now. Get the wheels loose. I gotta get it down and drag it out here so I can get it loaded up in the truck. So he was, Freddie was busy today, so I didn't want to bug him. So I just did all the work. But he'll probably help me get it into the truck at least. And I brought the GMC today. Thought it was fitting. So the nice thing about 14 bolts is the parts are available for it. So if it doesn't have 410s in it, I can get 410s for it. So that'll be nice. And these are kind of cool because the pinion's set off of a shim on the back side or the front side. So pretty nice. Here comes the cavalry. They're all loaded up, ready to go. All right, so now we got the this monster home. This is huge. Like, this thing gotta weigh 500 pounds. It weighed the truck down by almost an inch, so it's pretty crazy. But we need to find out what the gear ratio is in it. And I'm hoping it's 410 because then it matches the front end. But what's the odds of that happening? I'm sure it's gonna be like 456s or something. But let's find out. I know I've shown you this before, but I'm going to record it I'm going to record it anyways. All right, so the way you do this, you can spin it. The cap's still on there from the drive shaft. So I'm going to mark it top dead center right here. So we're going to put a mark here and a mark here. All right. And I'll start with the, well, that would be the left side of it. Make a mark there, and a mark here. So they line up. And now, let me take my jack, stop this one from spinning. Now I'd really trip out if I were to do this and it ended up being a posi. But then it's really easy to figure out what it is. You just spin the wheel. But what's the likelihood of a 1979 Chevy 3500 being a posi? So that moved a little bit. So let's go ahead and spin this. Make sure it doesn't move. So that was 1, 2. Oh, I think this might be a 410 because we're already to the mark. And we're just going to move a little bit further. So there's the mark. So that was 2 revolutions. So now we got to come over here and do the same thing for this side. This is just to stop it from spinning, so you can spin the other side. It might have moved a little bit, but that's fine. So now I'm going to mark that side, and I'm going to do my paint marker. So right there. So we've gone 2 revolutions in a very little bit. So now, you just spin it. So that's 3 total. That's 4 total. And a little bit. They're 410s, yes. So that means these match the front end that we put in the truck. So the 4-wheel drive will work together. That's awesome. That's what I'm talking about. Right on. So I get to mark off my first thing on my list. Although I got to change it a little bit because we got 14 bolts. So we acquired now I have to put install. So at least we got that. So got a half of it. All right, so that's a good thing. That's awesome. I still can't believe I found that the way I did. But we got that. So today we're going to go ahead and tear this thing down. Not fully. We're just going to pull the brakes off of it. Make sure that, because there's something rattling around in there. Make sure the bearings are good. See what we got to do for the brakes. And then get this thing ready to go in. All right, let's go ahead and tear into this thing. See what we got. Spray these bolts down. We'll go around the edge to the flange too, just because. Let's see how hard these are to get out, if I could get the big gun out or not. Might need the big gun. Yep. This ought to make quick work of it. This actually ran out of battery on me at the junkyard yesterday, but it's because I was doing U-joints or U-bolts. Did 2 wheels and what is it? 8. So I did 7.5 U-bolt nuts. Let me get a pan because it might leak out something. Should have done that before I sprayed the WD-40 or the PB Blaster. So everything seems really smooth on it so far. I don't see anything that's or felt anything that's bad. Ooh, I can smell the gear oil though. I opened up something. All right, that already popped loose. Well, it's got gear lube in it. That's good. This looks like it has the tab style lock ring. So this is my first 14 bolt. So bear with me here. Oh yeah, it is. Just got to figure out which one it is. See if I can find which tab is bent over. Nope. There's one. Use a little more stout of a screwdriver, I think. I don't know if this is much more stout. I've been breaking all my snap-on stuff lately. Just perfect because, you know, I don't have a snap-on dealer anymore. Okay, so that's one. Is there any other ones? Nope. Just the one tab. Yep, so that should actually come out pretty easily now. As long as the threads aren't marred or anything, it should come out fairly smooth. Fairly easily because, yep, there we go. Let me get something to put them in. I don't want to just take them off. I tell you what, I'm getting all too familiar with all these different big truck stuff. I got, you know, did a Dana 60 on the 70 GMC, did the HO 72 on the C30, now 14 bolt. All these floater rear ends I'm dealing with, pretty cool. It's nice. It's kind of cool to see the differences in them and the similarities. Pretty similar to the Dana 60. I don't feel any play in the bearings. That's good. I guess I'm just going to sit on the floor. Okay, so the next thing that comes out is the lock ring. So what is that? What's that doing inside the diff? It's like a chunk of wood or something. To investigate that a little further here in a minute. Oh, it's RTV. Some kind of sealer around the outside here. Got it everywhere. I was kind of worried about getting oil on my gloves, but as you can see, this one's already, you know, losing a thumb, lost a thumb. All right, should be one more lock ring, or one more retaining nut, we'll call it. Let's see if it comes out as easy. Oh yeah. A lot of stuff just works the way it's supposed to. This thing, I mean, it does have, you know, 10 less years on it than the last thing I did. So, any washers or anything in there? Yeah, there's one washer. Remember when we pulled that HO 72 off apart that I got with the Dana 44, it was missing the washer on this side. So there's a lot of similarities in these things. So you get your thin washer. So he's got that's the retaining washer for the keyway. All right, and well, that bearing's already coming out. Oh, yep. I think it'll definitely come off, but it's heavy, so let me get the bearing out first, I think. You know what? I'm just going to try it. Oh boy, here we go. Ah, yeah. Oh, wow, it came right off. But it's going to be heavy, so. Look at that. Ooh. That's a big boy there. Yeah. Well, let's check our bearing surfaces here. I know I'm making a mess on the floor right there, right about now. Oh, that feels smooth. All right. God, that looks almost brand new. That's awesome. Heck, even the shoes have quite a bit of meat left on them. So let's see what we got for, let's first pull this bearing out so it don't fall out on us. Oh, never mind, it can't. So it's like the HO72, the bearings are come out from the opposite side by the looks of it. Yeah, it doesn't come out that way, that's for sure. Cool, I mean we can flip her over and not have to worry about it. I got a bit of a lip on there. I don't think I have any way of measuring that. That's like 14 inches. How big are these things? 13. So yeah, I don't have any way of measuring that. That's all right. Even the seal looks pretty good. There's no sign of leak from the seal. So we could probably run this just the way it is. Probably replace the wheel cylinder and call it good. So we'll pull the other side off just to be sure, but I'm not going to film that part. Y'all get to see the one side come off. Both sides apart, and the bearings feel phenomenal. There's nothing wrong with those, so nothing has to be done about those. I ordered new brake shoes and new wheel cylinders because the wheel cylinders are leaking. So $100 for the shoes and the wheel cylinders. The drums, I'm going to hold off on because I noticed the adjusters are not even halfway adjusted. So with new shoes, that'll push that back out a little bit. There's a little lip on the drum, but you know, I'll knock that off with a wire wheel or a flap disc or something just to knock that off. But plenty of material left on the drums as far as I can tell. So that's what we're gonna do. Got those ordered. So that's pretty much all we're gonna do with the rear end. And we can get that thing put up in there. So we gotta get the other one out so we can get that one in. I might have to order U-bolts too. Although the U-bolts that came out of the truck I pulled the diff out of, they don't look so bad. They didn't rust down like the ones in the 68 did. I don't know if I even have those out here anywhere. I think they're up here. But those might be reusable because they're not corroded down from being sitting in this pocket for 10 years extra. So we might be able to reuse those ones. I'll look into seeing about ordering new ones. I know I can. So I put new ones on the GMC. So they're available. Ain't a big deal, but I have these and we can make them work. So that's where we're at with that. I think it's about time we get this thing put in. But first things first, we gotta get the old one out, which yeah, that's gonna be fun in itself. You know, back there underneath everything. But we'll get it out. All right, so you all missed me struggling to get these things loosened. But hopefully, they should come off pretty easily now. But on another note, I get to use the differential removal tool that I made a few years back when I was working on the Firebird. All right, let's see how many of these will actually come out. All right, so still need a breaker bar. They're all sticking in the socket. Driving me nuts. Come on. All right, there's one. I'll be back when these are all off. Yeah, like I said, I'll be back when I get the rest of them off. All right, I think it's time to drop her out. I disconnected the emergency brake cables, or parking brake cables, and the brake line. So everything should be disconnected. It should just drop right out. Let's see what happens. And there you have it. Bring it up a little bit to get it off the wheels, maybe. Oh, the heck is it stuck on? Just the parking brake cables. Yep. Parking brake cables are wrapped around the damn jack stands. I can't reach. Should have cleared the path for this beforehand. It's actually just stuck on the handle of the jack stand. Nothing can be easy, can it? God dang. Yeah, probably if the would have separated the drive shaft too, might have made it a little bit easier. I mean, it's disconnected, it's just not pop free yet. There we go. Hey, imagine that. If you disconnect everything, shit comes out. Pardon my French. And there you have it, HO72, pulled out, the 1969 C30. All right. Well, here's a little side-by-side comparison of the two. I don't have the drums on right now, but you see they're about the same length. That one might be a little narrower, I don't know. Kind of looks like there's a little less room here on that side. So maybe it is a little bit narrower. I'll give me some measurements and let you know, but yeah. That's kind of the center section on this is all one piece, but it's also got the dropout center section. Whereas this just has, stupid dog. This has the back cover, but you set your pinion depth just like a 9-inch back here. Let's get some measurement differences here. Pretty sure I measured the springs and they're the same, which is why I was looking for. That's 40 inches, and I believe this is 40 inches as well. Center line, center line. And I'll just measure across the freaking, yep, it's 40 inches too. So what is it, drum to drum? Just a little bit more than 44. It's a little less than 46. So there is a difference between the mounting points and the drums. So I don't know if that means it's narrower. I don't really think so. Let's see the drum height. So the drum height is, just by kind of eyeballing here, it's 13. That's without the axle. And that is 12. Well, actually less than 12. About 11 and a half without the axle, and 12 with the axle. So if you add the axle onto that, so it's going to be pretty much the same width from axle end to axle end. And mounting points, kind of do by myself. We can go from there to there. This is 54 3/4 plus 8. So 50, let's see, 54, 53. 54 plus 8 is 62 and a half. Again, it's hard to do with it, everything taking apart, but. So that's 45 plus, what do we say, 13? So 45 plus 13 is, I can't math today. So 45 plus 26 is what we're looking for, and that's almost 71. Is that right? I might be off my numbers. Either way, spring purchase match. I'm not sure about center line. This looks like it's pretty close. I did measure the yoke, and they both take the same size U-joint, so that drive shaft should work, which makes sense because that drive shaft actually came out of an 80 K10 or K30, so, or C30. No, it was a K30, it came out of K30, 3500. So, yeah, I did all the measurements beforehand. I knew this would fit, so yeah, we're good to go. We can get this thing put in. Not this minute though. I'll do all the brakes and everything once it's in the truck. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. The main reason why I wanted a 14 bolt is because you can get parts for it. I think I said that before. The HO72s, they're obsolete. You can't get parts for them. They're an Eaton drive line, and they're built by Eaton back in the day. And so, I mean, they're stout. They're just, for one, the bearings on these are shot. I was just kind of hoping and praying, but those bearings are perfect. There's nothing wrong with those. Even the spare ones I have, because I have a set, I got another set of these from when I bought the Dana 44 front end. And, but one of the yokes out here was bad. So, but I got 456, this is 514 gears. I got 456 gears for it. And even one of those bearings is bad on this, so I couldn't even replace the bearings using those. One side was good, the other side was doing the same thing, like conical rather than flat. So, but yeah, that's all. Gotta get the hose off of there because I think should work on this, maybe, even though it's pointing in the opposite direction. So I'll probably have to get one for a 79 square body 3500. But yeah, that's where we're at. I'm just happy about it. The fact that it matches the front gear ratio. But anyways, I'm rambling now. So we gotta get this thing put in and this one put somewhere. This is a slightly different look for the truck. It ain't got no wheels. Still pretty cool though. Yep, no axle. So I'm thinking, because that's a 6-pack spring, or yeah, it's a 6-spring pack. The one that came with the other HO72 was 8, but 2 of the springs were broken. But actually, maybe this is only 5. So I'm debating whether or not to use these ones for a little taller. Since I'm doing 4-wheel drive and probably going to go in with a 4-inch lift in the back, or I'm sorry, in the front, that something needs to be done in the back, whether that means adding springs to what's there or finding something else that'll work. Because this has like a separate like helper spring or something in it that this one does not. Let's get that thick one down here. So if we add this one right here, maybe it's on the top, I don't know. But yeah, this is definitely thicker. So maybe a little taller, ain't gonna be 4 inches, but it might work to add to it. I don't know. I gotta figure something out though. Oh yeah, so I took some measurements between this one, because I put everything back together so I can get more accurate measurements. Plus to help protect the axle ends. I don't wanna screw up the hubs back here. So this one here, total width from flange to flange is 61.5. Whereas this one is 1 inch wider. So we have 62.5 on this one. And I kept putting 52 for some reason, but you can see how it kind of looks like 52, but I added a 6. But anyways, so this is 1 inch wider flange to flange, which is kind of cool. It's going to push the wheels out a little bit further, which I kind of wanted anyways. And I'm not sure, the dually wheels might be a little bit different too. But, and it's definitely, I think it's an inch difference total length too from end to end. But I didn't write those numbers down. But yeah, so I'm gonna get this just pushed over there until I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do about the springs. All right, so I got her placed up in there and it fits. So I was a little bit worried because the springs seem to be hitting the U-bolt, but it's because this side was not all the way forward. It was about 1 inch back. It wasn't in the hole. So once I got that straightened out, it sits in there perfectly. So I am quite happy now. And I'll get it bolted in once I figure out what I'm gonna do for springs. Because like I said, I don't know, kind of want to go a little bit higher or taller in the back if I'm doing 4-inch lift springs. So I don't know if that's gonna be in all these extra things on here would be enough. If I had the 2 other springs that were on it originally, it probably would have been perfect. It was about a 2-inch difference. So I don't know. We'll figure it out though. Well, we got the 14 bolt bolted up in now. Got 1 set of tires on there. It's just a mock-up basically. It's definitely not done yet, but everything fits and works. We got brake parts on the way, so we can get that done back here. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm so happy about that. Have I said that enough? I'm happy. I'm very happy. All right, we got the front axles done. So we got new bearings in this piece right here, new U-joints. Still waiting on seals and bearings for the outers, but we can go ahead and mark off some up here. We got U-joints. We get mark off the fronts, so that's done. And this is technically installed too. So I ordered this from Amazon. That's coming, the transfer case seal kit. These are on their way. They should be here on Monday. Today is Saturday. Same with the floor braces. They should be here. Rockers will be here. I still got to order these and this. And there's another part that's the inner floor from the rockers. So instead of replacing $500, $600, $650 freaking complete floor pan, I can do the partial patches and this inner piece. It's that from like there over to here. I know it's kind of fuzzy. There you go. So brings you up to the seam right here and all the way back to there. So that'll take care of that when I get that. But those are like $100 each. So maybe AMD will see this video and sponsor me. That'd be great. I was saying earlier, the 14 bolt's actually installed. And as you can see, it is fully bolted in now. I used the original hardware because it wasn't actually rusted out, which was surprising. I'll show you what typically they look like. This is what you usually get when you pull U-bolts out of a 50-year-old car. See how they're all corroded down? That's because they sit in these little pockets right here, you know, and they're coming down from the top. So this whole pocket fills up with dirt and water and grime, and they just rust out. But the bottom pieces on this are actually different. They don't have those big pockets like that. So these did not rust out. There's a little bit of pitting, but not very much. See the difference? See how small those are? So yeah, I was able to reuse that. See, there's a little bit of pitting on the bolts, but there's not very much. They're not deep at all. So they're good enough for now. I'm gonna order new ones eventually, but those will get me through the show at least, unless I decide to change it beforehand. But yeah, that's why you want to always check these bolts, because you should have seen the ones on this. This one was really bad too. But yeah, when you get 50-year-old bolts that have been sitting in a pocket of water and grime and dirt like that, there ain't gonna be much left of it. They corrode down to that. All right, I got the 14 bolt back out of the truck. You might ask, why would you do that after having it in there already? Well, this is all mock-up right now. I made sure everything fits the way it should. And so far, we're doing good. However, we got to do brakes on this. And that includes replacing the wheel cylinder. When this thing is in, look at the amount of room you have between the springs and the lines. So I want to make sure I had access to get that wheel cylinder out. So it's a lot easier this way rather than, unless I take the whole backing plate off, which I could do, but I'm not going to do that. That's kind of ridiculous. So it was actually easier to pull it out like this, since it was just basically bolted up in there lightly and loosely just to test fit everything. And this way I can also clean it up, make it look pretty. So that's why I did it. That's why it's out again. Well, at least got one delivery today, and that was my order from AMD, which included new rockers and new cab corner supports. So only problem with that is can't really do the cab corner supports or the rockers until I do this inside piece here. And that's gonna have to wait because it's like $100. But got the parts, so that's the first round of sheet metal that we needed. The parts for the wheel cylinder, for the wheel bearings and everything should be here tomorrow. Hopefully, they're supposed to, I figured they'd be here today since they've been in Clinton, which is my distributor for UPS since yesterday, but you know how that goes. But and yes, the rear end is back out of it because I don't know if I said this earlier, but trying to get to these brake lines back here with it in the truck, if you look right here, see the amount of room, plus I want to clean these lines up, make sure they're still good. They look a little crusty, so I might have to make new ones, which ain't a big deal. But anyways, wheel cylinders and stuff should be here this week. I don't know when. Wheel cylinders and shoes for that. Brake rotors, bearings, everything for this. I did order a new hub because of how trashed that one is down inside there. See all those nicks? Well, that's the bearing. That's the race surface where it stands on. So if that's messed up, that can throw off your bearings pretty bad. So Ordered another one of those because, you know, I already ordered the brake rotors that just, you know, press on there. But anyways, I'm starting to ramble a little bit here, but I just wanted to give you an update. I did do some work on the door here. I sealed up those cracks that were where the inner skin was peeling off, that cracked and peeled off. So I welded that up, ground it down, making it look pretty nice. Adjusted the door gap, and that is really nice. Check that out. That's the way they're supposed to shut. And, you know, I don't have weather stripping in there, but it closes like that, and it lines up perfectly. The weather stripping will just be a formality at that point. But unfortunately, now that I have it perfectly adjusted, I got to pull it off again because in order to do the rockers, you got to pull it off. But, you know, that is, you know, one step forward, two steps back type of thing anytime you're building a truck or a car. And now I'm really rambling. I'm 2 minutes into this little segment. But I put that on there. I put the core support on in order to test fit and check the lines on the fender to the door. It still needs a little bit of work. You can probably see the steps right there in it. So I didn't quite get it filled right. But we'll fix it all and make it look good eventually. I'm not worried about cosmetics for the show. Just got to make sure it can roll on its own well, 6 wheels at this point. So that's the main thing I'm concentrating on. Running, driving, stopping, braking, all that good stuff. But cosmetics will definitely come. And like I said, I've already started. But yeah, you know, we're getting her done. All right, so that's what it looks like with the fender on it. If anybody wonders if I'm working on a C10, apparently, even though that's a C3500 GMC, and that's a C30. So yeah, so I got 10, 20, and 30. I got them all, even though that's technically a 2500, but who cares? But definitely some work to be done. The fender, I really hate that fender, and I got to modify it because of this still, that step. But I figured, looking at, I used that right there, contour gauge. And basically, what I need to do is just, you see right there, I just need to fill that area. And I think if I cut up in this area right here and just bring this up, then it'll take care of it. Unless I can find a GMC fender that doesn't have that step in it. And if you don't remember me showing you this before, that's what I'm talking about. See how it's just, there's no step there. From this point to this point, it's just flat. And that's the way the GMCs are. So far, I noticed that AMD does have fenders that are like that. I saw an advertisement for one of all things lately. But so yeah, that's one of the things that needs to be taken care of to make it a GMC. And of course the badges. All right, so I think some of the stuff I need to do before I even do this, I gotta get this corner hammered out and straightened. Which probably means, and I kind of knew this was happening anyways, is the cab has to come back off because it's kind of hard to get behind here to really do the work to get that punched out. But we knew this was happening because, you know, everything's going to come back off again at some point because I can't replace this cab support, and sorry about the glare, without removing it from the, because it's part of that, so, of the cab support or the cab mount. So that all has to come off anyways. So yeah, might just pull this thing off again and get her to where I can work on her, or at least raise her up or move her. I don't know. I gotta figure out something. But I was just basically test fitting everything and seeing what we need to do. I might be able to work that corner without removing the cab, but I definitely gotta lift it up at least to get that part done. How's this side look? This side's crushed in a little bit too, so definitely got some work ahead of me as far as reshaping the metal. And my mom thought it was funny when I said that I massage metal. So, but that's just something, it's just a term that I've always used when it comes to metal. I don't know. What do you think? Do you massage your metal? Guess when they pay you enough. All right, so I think today's agenda, we're gonna just work on some dent repair. So I got this one right here I can get to from the inside, which shouldn't be too bad. All these up underneath there, I got to work on. I'm going to try to deal with the cab still on the body. But like I said, I still need to raise it up to do the cab support up front. Either way, well, actually all of them. So, but for now, I want to keep it here. So it's actually a nice working level for me because I'm 6'5", so it makes it a little bit easier to try to work in here. But I should be able to get this dent out pretty easily. It's a little creased, but I think with a little hammer and dolly, it'll bring it out. I got it smoothing down out quite a bit, actually. See the green areas right there still where it's a little low, but barely, you can barely feel it. I'm gonna bring this area out a little bit. And back here I can't get to right now because the bed's in the way, so I might have to pull the cab off. Or I can pull the bed off. Yeah, right, that thing's like, that's probably 2/3 of the way of the truck. It's ridiculous. But anyways, so we're definitely getting closer on that. This corner right here is just gonna be a booger. I can't really do much. Did I just say that? Yeah, I just said a booger. But I can't get that to come out because there's a seam behind there. So I can't get back behind that. Maybe when I do the rockers, I'll be able to get to it easier. Especially if I do this inner piece here, for sure. But we're definitely getting better. I did find a pinhole right there. So there's some rust back here that will need to be filled, but I don't think it warrants a whole cab corner, which is good. But this definitely took a pretty good hit. You can see where it even like cracked the seam sealer right there. But yeah, they definitely overdid it with the seam sealer on this. I found a chunk about, I don't know, 2 inches square in the corner down here, but that's what they do. But yeah, I'm glad we got the rockers though, because those are definitely toast. So, yep, just making progress. I just want to keep busy until the parts for the front end and the rear end and all the other stuff comes in today. It is all out for delivery, which is good. So that's at least one thing, or numerous things to complete those tasks. But anyways, let's get back into it. Yay, my favorite thing, body and metal work. Woo. So I'm gonna work on getting this flattened out a little bit here. You can see there's quite a bit to do, and I don't know if that's dirt up inside there, or if that's body filler or what that is. But so yeah, we gotta get this straightened out because this lip right here needs to be down. This needs to be over. The dent up there, there's a crease up here, which we need to get out too. So that's gonna be a fun task with this in the way, but I don't know if I'm gonna remove the bed yet. I'm gonna see what I can do before removing the bed, or not the bed, but the cab. And if we get that straightened out, and we will. I mean, that crease is right on that seam right there. So we might be able to straighten it out pretty easily, actually. We'll see. All right, so I got a lot of that straightened out. Problem is that crease up there. It's hard to see, but this one way up here, that's not supposed to be there, even though it's on both sides on this one. But I checked my other truck and it's not supposed to be like that. So I can't get up into that and hammer that back in because I need to hit from this side, from the outside, to go in to get that thing to come out. So that means I gotta at least lift the cab up and move it forward, or give me room to do something here. Trying to figure out a way of doing it without removing it completely, because then I still gotta figure out a place to put it. Which, you know, I got plenty of room, but I don't wanna take up that much more room. So, but yeah, that crease that's up in there, it needs to go away. I did get a lot of this straightened out, so that was all dinged up pretty bad. And we got it working a little bit better now. Trying to blind you guys. So that's looking a lot better than it was. Still some work to be done, but I want to get that top part straightened out first, and I'll work my way down to straighten it all out. So any advice out there would be great, because this is literally the third vehicle I've done. And you know, I didn't start doing this until I started working on the Firebird, doing metal on it. So any advice, any words of wisdom, I'll take them. So I'm just kind of shooting from the hip here and doing what I can to flatten it out. So let me know your tips and tricks. It'd be great. Just leave it down in the comments. That's all the first four I could get to go, and that just ain't enough room to get a hammer in there to work that metal. So cab's coming off again. It's just the way it is. You know, luckily everything's new, so the bolts they just unbolt really easy. I already had those off and had it slid forward. So time to get the hoist out and move the Firebird out of the way. and get this thing back off here. And then I'll set it up maybe in the back here to be able to work on it. All right, now we got the cab someplace where we can actually do some work on it. There isn't a whole lot in the front to do other than those corners. So I put the front towards the, the area where there isn't a whole lot of room. So that way I get all the room back here and I can move this stuff out of the way to work on this side. But that way I can still put the Firebird in here and not have any problems. And my cab removal tool came in clutch again. Thing is awesome. If you want to know how to make one of these, well, go look at my old videos. I don't remember where it's at, but it's back there somewhere. So probably under miscellaneous shop videos on my playlists. But go check it out. Did some modifications to it so it could go down a little bit further, but there you have it. Cab is out. Got a bare frame again, except for the bed. But that'll make it easier for me to change the seals on the transfer case when they come in, which is cool. I think they actually come. I think they're coming in today too. So all this stuff we got to work on. Still need to get a dent puller, but I'm not too worried about that stuff for the show. I just got to make sure I don't have holes in my floor. If I can get that far, I really don't know. I could drive it like this, I don't care. But we got it off. Definitely with it out, you can see, especially at that angle right there, see that crease? Right there? Yeah, that's not supposed to be there. So when this thing was taken off the truck, or the chassis, they set it down somewhere and those bent up because the frame is way up in there. So if you set it on this, it's gonna bend it. And now I get to fix it. So ain't no big deal. At least it's not rotted out or nothing. Like I said, there's like a couple places in the cab corners that probably should be addressed, but I don't think a full cab corner is required or needed. They both have that one little pinhole right there. But other than that, now it's time to get to work and get this thing straight, or make it straighter. Well, as you can see from the box explosions around here, we got some parts in. Got the shoes and the wheel bearings for the wheel cylinders for this. So everything else looks good on it. Springs look good. Even the drums barely had a lip on it. So these nice thick freaking new shoes, just to replace those, we'll take care of it, I think. So we're good on the rear. Well, it's not perfect, but that crease is no longer there. You can compare it to this side here. Maybe in the light here, but you kind of see right like there. If I can just get the light to go a certain way, but there's a crease there and that is no longer here. So I think the rest of it is enough for some body filler. This corner right here is kind of weird because it's really thick. It's almost like it's double layered, but that almost feels like that curve and that little dip is supposed to be there. Because everything else is, well, I mean, you saw how it looked before, how crushed up that was. So I think it's a lot better than it was. I just don't know about that area right there. So no, it's not supposed to be that low. So I might have to work that a little bit from the inside, or this part right here to, in a little bit. But it seems like it's really thick and just doesn't want to move. But I'll do some more work on it. I'm actually having fun doing this for once. This is like I said, I got the parts to do all that stuff over there, but I don't want to. I want to keep doing this. One of the great things about having extra parts and cabs and stuff laying around is you can find, or you can come out here and compare. I know this cab corner is a little rough, but this right here, that is all flat. So that whole area is supposed to be flat. And you can see there's a little ding underneath there, but that overall, this looks really good back here. So that's what I gotta do, is I gotta get that all flat. So more hammering and dollying. Yeah, I'm gonna call it a night. And I got a lot done on this. It's a lot better than it was, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely starting to like this a little bit more because I'm starting to get better at it. So, oh my God, I might become a body guy. Ugh. What was I thinking? But anyways, so tomorrow, hopefully, when I get out here, I'll feel like doing the front bearings and everything and getting this stuff all together so we can make this a roller again and get her so we can drive it when it's time. Get this cab on there. But we got plenty of metal work to do to get ready for the April show. So, but I'm going to call it a night, go in and get some dinner. and relax for the night, because as much as I enjoyed this, it's still not easy work. So, but anyways, off I go. I stopped in an Elk City pickup park today to get those right there, the rear shock mounts for this. And I decided to go ahead and grab the mirrors off of the truck that the 14 bolt came out of. They're a little big, but I think I can modify them to make them work. I think they'll work great for, you know, looking around this this headache bar thing. Even though I think I might be modifying this, I might be reducing the size of this. I don't know yet, but yeah, definitely got to modify. But the cool thing is they had another truck that came in recently. It was a 77 square body dually 1 ton. That had these mirrors on it. Now, these brackets, I can modify those as well to make them work, but the cool thing is I have the original mirrors off the 1 ton, and all I had to do was loosen up those 4 screws and stick that in there, and the bracket for the 67 to 72 fits the mirror. So I think I want to put these on the 70 GMC out front, you know, my original build, just because I need bigger mirrors on it. And I think I want the big mirrors to go on the 1 ton because, well, it's a 1 ton. So, but yeah, that's my treasures for today from Elk City Pick Apart. Mirrors, yay. So I say it's time to knock out these brakes for these 14 bolt. Now I'm only going to show one side. You can get the picture, but you always do one side at a time. That way you can reference the other side. I've done these so many times that they're pretty much all the same. So just kind of get an idea of how they go, and it's pretty easy. So yeah, on that note, I like to use actual drum brake tools. And I know a lot of people, even like Junkyard Diggs, he hates them for some reason, but I think they work pretty good. But you know, whatever works, use it. It doesn't matter. So first thing we got to do is, because we got new shoes and new wheel cylinders. So let's go ahead and get the springs popped off. And I know I've shown drum brakes before. Hopefully I'm not yelling too bad. I forgot I had my microphone on. But I know I've shown drum brakes before, but I've never shown it on a 14 bolt. So something new, kind of. It's basically the same as everything else I've ever done, though. But use the tool, pop the springs off. I like to set them on the side that they came off of. Now you have a lever down here for your parking or your adjustment, your auto adjust. And you also have a parking brake cable going through here. And we're not going to even remove that. I'm hoping to be able to use a parking brake because it is a manual transmission truck. So I'm going to get this last lever off here. Oh, heck. There's not enough tension on it to even worry about it. It just kept springing back on me. So that goes on the lever down here for your adjustment. I've already got the adjusters out. I pulled those out earlier. The spring's still in there for it, though. I take these side springs out. I use the snap-on tool, but it's got a magnet on it, which makes it real nice to pop these springs loose. And again, a lot of people don't like using these. I do. So that should be that shoe right there. Now I'll get the spring off. There's that one. And that's the front spring. So remember, the short springs in the front. You pull the little cap out, or the mount. I'll leave that in there. Your separator bar with the spring, and spring's good on it, which is good. Don't forget your little bow tie or bat wing, whatever you want to call it. Pull this little spring out from the adjustment lever, just so we don't lose it. It doesn't pop out on us, as it'll probably pop out on me right now. There we go. Keep losing my tools. I haven't moved anywhere. So one more spring clip over here. There it goes. Your adjustment lever is held in with a little mount right there. So you want to make sure that goes in that hole again. This bar here latches onto this little tab up there. Got like a C-clip on that, so I'm going to get a pair of needle nose. There it goes. This is just using your standard C-clip. I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not. Right there. Now that lever will come out. There's your rear brake. This is the main reason I'm replacing it. See all the cracks in it? It still has quite a bit of meat on it, but I'll compare it to the new ones. It's a big difference. You can see the difference between the front and the rear. See the pads go wrap all the way around for the rear one. Or I don't know why they do a small one in the front and a big one in the rear, but I guess some people just like the bigger rears. Yeah, that's a stupid dad joke. So you gotta be careful, there's a spring washer on here too, so you don't want to lose that. So that goes through that hole right there. Like I said, this is our rear pad. The big pad goes in the back. I guess that's in. It didn't seem like it was in. Okay, so while that's let's go ahead and pull the... Yep, that was definitely bad. We'll clean those up. Let's pull that master, or the slate, that thing right there, the wheel cylinder off. They are 3/8. So I did lube these all up earlier, and I removed the brake line. I'm going to replace the whole thing because the one line going into the distribution block in the middle here, it was pretty rusty and wouldn't come loose. And I don't know, 50-year-old brake parts should probably be replaced. Well, this is an 86. So what's that make it? 40. It'll be 40 years this year. No, I'm sorry, this is a 79. This came out of 79. So I have no idea what that makes it. There we go. There's our first wheel cylinder. I'm going to clean that hole up a little bit here. This is still by far one of my favorite new tools. The Hercules little die grinder thing, 90-degree die grinder. It is nice. And just so y'all know, I did check the wheel cylinders when they came in, and they are correct. And clean up all the pad areas for the brake shoes to slide on. I'll add a little bit of grease to those usually. Is it perfect? No, it doesn't have to be. It's covered up. I do have brake parts lubricant. It's the purple stuff. So it would probably be a good idea to install one of the wheel cylinders, huh? Let me clean up these little pins first. Wheel cylinder. Bleeder up. This can only go in one way, so you can't really mess it up. Sure, somebody will try at some point in their life to do it, to mess it up. But so, fun fact, this little thing right here actually serves a purpose. It prevents your wheel cylinder from extending too far. The more you know. I'm sure everybody that watches this already knew that, but another tip that works out pretty well usually is if your brake lines are still on there, start your line into the master, God, why do I keep on a master cylinder? Start your line into the wheel cylinder before you tighten it down, because that way it's not so hard to get it lined up in the back. Put a little bit of grease on these push rod thingies. I've tried doing this without putting the grease on it before, and it didn't like to go into the little cups. So, well, I guess that's the way it's going to be. So when we put this brake shoe in, we need to put all the stuff that goes to it that's now missing, like my spring. Oh, great. Where did I kick it to? Aha! I kicked it under my feet, under my stool. Like I said, that little cup's going to be on the lever, and the lever goes onto the shoe. This is where the nice part about this magnetic spring tool comes into play. There it goes. All right. Shoe number one, kind of on. All right, that was a little bit easier. Make sure you get the little teeth set around your new shoe. Put your little bat wing back on. Next is your little lever here that goes around your adjustment lever for that lever. Get our lever put in. So this spring here on the right side here, it's got to go in the hole. You use your spring tool to connect it to that lever, just like that. Why does that seem wrong? Sometimes it just seems wrong, I guess. The orange springs goes in the hole back here, and same thing, install it onto the clip here. I always like to pinch the spring a little bit once it's back on. There you go. Okay, that's all good on there. Get that little spring that holds the lever up, the adjustment lever. Just like that. Oh, that's why I put the wrong spring on. Jeez. All right, let's put the right spring in there. It should make a difference. Hey, look at that. There we go. All right, now the spring I just had that I already lost. All right, what'd you guys do with it? Not funny anymore. Okay, now I gotta figure out which one of these adjusters is the right one. So this is gonna push down to adjust it, I think. Yes, it pushes it down. So this needs to be a spin outward, and this isn't spinning outward. So if this is in place and it gets pushed out on this side, it's gonna spin outward. So that's the proper one for this. And the long part of the spring goes towards the adjuster. And yes, I'm using a regular pair of pliers for this because there's not that much tension on it. So now you take the adjuster. I always do the adjuster last because once everything's together, trying to put this spring in down here is a pain in the butt. So you do the adjuster last, and then it goes right in most of the time. It does like to call me a liar. There you have it, all together. So now when this, as you press the brakes, this pushes this out and kicks this lever down and self-adjusts. Hopefully you can see that from up there. That's one done. Cool. Well, it took way longer than it should have, but I kept losing parts. Just to be sure everything's on right now. Spring, lever, pins. Good to go. Right, there's side number 2 done. I'm not going to film everything, but so we got both sides done. Now you can put the drums back on. Okay, we got all the drums back on, axles back in. They all spin freely. One of the things I do is I take some gear lube and squirt it around the bearing on these just to make sure they get lubricated because these don't get greased. They rely on diff fluid, so, or gear lube or whatever you want to call it. But that's what we did. So I tip it up a little bit like that. See, you can see it's got an angle. And then pour some of the gear lube down inside there around the bearing. So before I got the 14 bolt, I had bought new hardware, new hoses for the rear with the HO72 in that. And the mounting points on this is a little bit different. This had a bracket right here, like so, and it actually goes forward in the truck, whereas on the C30, on the 79, so square body, it goes forward apparently, but on this one, it goes back. And the hose for the square body is only 14 inches long. This is 18 inches long. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna modify this bracket, basically gonna bend it up so I can mount it the same way it was, and I'll show you once I get it all done. And I'm just gonna bend it right around here, drill that hole out so it fits that, and then clip it in and make my lines off of that. And I got the original lines so I can bend most of it to fit the original. I'll just to modify this kind of this end of it a little bit here. But we'll go into it and talk, do all that. I can't talk this morning, but I will explain all that once we get into it. All right, so I modified the bracket, basically just cut it down and just moved to the back here. And this is the way it mounts on the 69 originally, but it was over here on the axle tube. But since we're going 4-wheel drive, which is going to be probably a lift, a little bit of a lift, I want to have it up a little bit higher, and that's more than enough room. It's going to clear plenty where that's at. So we should be good on that. And I just got to make the lines to fit in here, and I'll do the ends the way they were originally and bring them around here, then just loop them up and in. Same with over here. So just make them custom lines again, always. So the way I'm going to make these brake lines, I'm just going to use the old one and my little Harbor Freight bender, which works really good for the 3/16 line. I got this one here too for really tight areas. So I'm just going to do that, make this like that, up to about here, that area, and then I'll modify it to fit and match the new area here. But it's going to be the same from this point all the way over to about here, and then I'll just bring it over and go straight up into an angle, or maybe even bring it in and put a 90 or an angle on it and go straight in that way. But we'll make it work. That's how we do it around here. All right, so there you have it. There's the old line, all crusty and nasty, and all the new lines. So that definitely looks a lot better. Like I said, just had to modify this middle part because I'm using the original middle hose for the 69. So had to make some new lines and make them look halfway decent, and there you have it. She's good to go. All right, so we got the whole front end together now. Just need to get calipers, and that'll be done up here. Calipers, hoses, brake lines, all that good stuff. Like I said, we got the brake lines down the rear. So that's one more thing done. You actually get to mark something off completely. Wheel bearings, done. So lighting wires, brakes, we got most of the brakes done. We got the rears done. Rears are, you know, pretty much done, installed. Fronts, calipers, pads. All right, so yeah, mark something off and add 2 more things. All right, so at least for something. All right, so we got some other parts in too. We got the seal kit for the transfer case. I got these pieces for the cab as well. And I'm trying out a new company. It's called Tabco. They're out of Cleveland, Ohio, so it's not too bad. I don't know where the parts are made out of. Somebody suggested these to me on my comments, but I figured I'd try them out. And they were actually about half the price as anywhere else. So I don't know how good they're going to be, but this is for that piece right here to replace that, all that rusty area down there. So it's pretty solid, but we'll see how it fits before I can judge it really. I got one for each side over here. So one for each cab corner, front cab corner. And I got a new fender piece, the rear fender piece for that fender. Even though I gotta, modify it to make it work like a GMC one. But that need to replace anyway, so either way, we got some more sheet metal and some more parts. So good to go on those. It's a good place to leave this video. We're about an hour in now on the video. But we got some stuff knocked off of our list. So if you look up here, we got the 14 bulls acquired. It was installed, but it's back out because we didn't do brakes, but we did do the rear brakes. We did the U-joints up front. That was on a different video, the one from last week. So yeah, rears are installed. Still need those, but there's a lot to do on the list still. I did get the seal kit for the transfer case. We'll probably do that on the next video. But yeah, we're starting to get it knocked down a little bit. But there's a lot to do, and well, now 2 months, 2.5 months. But so yeah, make sure you follow along because I'm gonna get this. I want to get this thing done by April 17th to take it to the truck gathering in Guthrie, Oklahoma. So the whole point of this is to get that thing, to get motivated, to have a goal, and to try to make it. So on that note, if you like this video, leave a like down there, leave me a comment, let me know what I can do better, and subscribe while you're at it. Why not? It's free. And for those people who've been here this long, I appreciate you being here. So until next time, I will see you later.